Welcome to the Living in the Zone podcast with your host, Jim Fannin. This is your front row seat into the minds of champions. As a master mental performance coach, Jim will pull back the curtain on the hidden strategies that drive peak performance in sports, in business, and in life. If you're an athlete, coach, entrepreneur, or just someone who's ready to level up mentally and step into your greatness, you're in the right place. Welcome to Living in the Zone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Living in the Zone. I'm your host, Jim Fannin. I've got my co-host, Ryan Lidge, certified zone coach. Ryan, welcome to the show today.
Jim, awesome Monday here. And I'm looking forward to talking about some big game-changing moments in some athletes' lives coming up, especially the NFL draft.
Oh, it's a big moment right now in sports, and we're going to take a deep dive. We also have co-host Caleb Clayton, also a zone coach. So, Caleb, welcome to the show today.
Awesome day, Jim. Absolutely happy to be here.
Now, we know the majority of you watching or listening, you haven't subscribed, so come on, help the zone coach out a little bit. I want you to subscribe. Let's go, Zoniacs. You know, together we can change the entire world. Let's go, everybody. Subscribe below. This show is about how to better yourself in terms of preparing, adjusting, evaluating performances. It's how to live a simple, balanced, abundant life. And it's also based on a 50-year-old proprietary score system, a thought management system that we're excited about showing you how to use it in every facet of your life. SCORE is an acronym. It's for self-discipline. That's a tough marker. I think most of us have some discipline, but do we have the most self-discipline we need? We can delve into that. The second marker is concentration. Then we have optimism, relaxation, and enjoyment. How's your attitude? How's your mindset? How's your score level? Same question, and let's take a deep dive. But today, I've got a spotlight right in the middle of the word SCORE is the O. It's for optimism. That is the belief, expectancy, and sense of knowing that whatever you're doing is going to happen. How is that inner mindset that you have? Do you have seeds of doubt? Do you have inconsistencies? Do you have that yo-yo performance? Sometimes you're locked in, sometimes you're not. Flip a coin, you're not sure how it's going to happen. Well, right now, at this time of the year, conference championships are starting to happen. Baseball, tennis. We got Illinois golf in 4 or 5 days, getting ready for the Big Ten championship. This is happening around the country where the money's going to stack up. But if you've got a seed of doubt, you have low optimism, your chances of winning greatly diminish. I was 22-3 playing college tennis. My senior year, I'd been the captain 2 years on my team, and my coach said, hey, Jim, come on in. The season's over. We're getting ready to start conference kind of right now. And I talked to him almost every day, and I walked in. I'm in a great mood, and he goes, I got to tell you something, man. You're the biggest loser I've ever had. And he hit me in the face with a hammer. I thought he was joking me. I said, what are you talking about? I said, Coach, man, I'm 22-3. Yeah, 22-3. All 3 losses were through the conference. You lost conference matches. You've been here for 4 years and you have not won the conference. I don't think you get how this works. We win the conference. We go to regionals, nationals. I get a raise. The program gets more money, and life is good. I don't think you get it. It's not about you. It's about all of us.
I'm not sure coaches talk like that anymore. Maybe nowadays, but
you know what, Ryan? He had never talked to me like that. In 4 years, he had never talked to me like that. I got up, turned around, and left. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't say anything. I was flummoxed, one of my favorite words. I didn't know what to do. And I was in East Tennessee. I'm 7 hours away from home. Where's my mom? I need help. Where's my friends? I felt so alone, maybe like you do right now when things aren't going your way. As you lay in your room and no one's around, those thoughts right then are going to dictate whether you're going to be good or great. I went up on this hill and I had a leaf, and I was turning this leaf, and an inchworm fell out of a tree and landed on the leaf. And I looked at it, and it walked to the edge of the leaf, and then I turned the leaf over, and then it walked to the edge of the leaf, and I turned it over, and I just kept doing it. I had no thought, but I was mesmerized by this little inchworm that wanted to get off that leaf, looking for total security, safety, optimism that I can get off this leaf. And every time I turned it over, it kept going. And I realized at that moment what was missing. I was not relentless. I was not sending relentless energy. In fact, when I played the 3 conference guys, I tried too hard. I forced the action. I double faulted. It was tennis, and I missed so many shots trying to do more than I needed to do, and I choked, and then I choked, and then I choked. And here I am. My career's over. After conference, I'm done. I'm off to the pro tour, but I need to focus. My coach hit me in the head with a hammer. So what am I going to do? That's what this show is all about. I made up my mind that I would send relentless energy to my next opponent. And I started doing visualization, seeing me, expecting me, even knowing that I could defeat these 3 opponents that had beaten me in the last 30 days. And I saw me winning. And I didn't think about anything but that. And I was comfortable being in that situation. My intuition went to another level. My conscious thought dropped probably 75%. I wasn't thinking at all. I knew that I had enough to win. I'd won 22 times. I just choked on the 3 big ones, but I gave it to them. I didn't get beat. I lost to all 3 of those boys. And I remember having a replacement. If I got in trouble during that tournament, I would think about one thing that would take me to the next level. And I'll tell you that one thing, you got to stick around. I'm going to tell you in my final word. So don't leave, stick around. We've all had this challenge when expectations don't meet reality. And that's what this show is on. It's about optimism, but it's about, do you have belief or do you have expectancy? There's a big difference between believing, oh, I believe I'm going to win. I expect to win. And then once a little validation, now I know I can win. And that is the difference between good and great, and that's what our show is on today. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ryan? Because you and I've spent a lot of time on optimism.
Yeah, 13 years, I think, about optimism. It makes me think of when the underdogs play the big boys. So the midweeks in college baseball, or when the college football teams, the SEC teams, play the early season opponents. Yeah. And often, those underdogs take the lead. They 3-run homer to start the game. And I was just at a game, high school baseball game, where the team that wasn't supposed to win, hit a 3-run homer in the first inning. But I'm watching it, I'm saying, those guys don't expect to win. Let's see how they perform the rest of the game. And then the other team expects to win. So the team that's odds are in their favor. And then the other team, the underdogs, they don't have that sense of expectancy. They don't have that high optimism frequency that you can just feel. And an error happens. And then you start losing the strike zone as a pitcher. You start trying harder as hitters. We have to get these runs in.
Here we go again.
And the other team forced, because of their sense of expectancy, that energy field that they were vibrating towards the other team.
And that's collective optimism. Collective belief. Collective expectancy.
And so I believe that the best teams aren't the best because they just score more runs or have more points. It's because they
have more talent.
Yes, they force the other team to lose and start playing over their potential when that potential might not be met, if that makes any sense to anyone listening to this, which when we talk score, I mean, it's such a specific language. So that optimism, though, it's palpable. And that's what I believe happens a lot when those bad teams don't finish.
How many watching, listening right now are inconsistent? You know, you have that awesome run of 2 rounds, 2 games, 3 games, and then all of a sudden, it's like a bubble burst. The zone went away. Maybe it went to another zip code. And all of a sudden, now you're struggling. It can happen so quickly. In that conference final, I defeated the guy that beat me. First round, knocked him out. He couldn't believe it. And I smoked him without thinking. I just blitzed him. Second guy, blitzed him. Third guy, I'm in the finals. At a bye, I'm now in the finals, and I'm winning. And I will never forget this. My belief is up. My expectancy's up. I even have a sense of knowing. And literally, out of the sky, a guy drops in a parachute. ROTC maneuvers. A guy dropped out of the sky onto the tennis court. And everybody's like, oh, my God. It disrupted everything. The bubble burst. I'm in the zone. Now, all of a sudden, there's a guy in a parachute on the court, 10 feet in front of me, and I'm out of the zone. Just like that, it can happen. Has that happened to you? I'd like for you to drop us a note on how many times that you've been in that situation and what happened to you when you have so much expectation and then just like that, it goes away. You can have too much, you can have too little. I'll give you another example, my last one. I expected to get to the Pro Tour. I knew I could do it. And once I got out there, I was done. I didn't re-up my expectancy. I didn't redo my goal. It wasn't top 10, top 100. It was just get there. And that happened to a quarterback that I'm coaching in the Super Bowl. And I fought him week after week. He had one vision, get to the Super Bowl. I go, don't you think we should win it? Don't you think you should see win it? I just want to get there. I just want to get there. That was his expectation. I felt it was too low. I thought it should have been much higher. He gets to the Super Bowl, and he loses. Why? Expectation too low. I knew it. And when it was over, he knew it as well. So check it out. If you've got low expectation, low belief, and low sense of knowing, this show is for you. Let's find out who is in the zone. So Caleb, you watched a lot of sports this weekend.
Absolutely.
Who's in the zone right now?
Right now, we're going to do a little preview for the upcoming NFL draft. Talk about expectancy. You have expectancy from a player's point of view, being drafted number 1, being drafted top 10, first round, but you also...
How fired up is mom? How fired up is your mom and
the
dad?
whole family. I know, it's a great time.
It's a great time.
Flipping that script, you also have an expectancy from the owners, from the GM. Your prospect that you draft, your whole organization, the fan base, the media, they're looking at you and you are expecting a return on that investment as a front office personnel, as a coach.
Hey, the GMs, your job's on the line. You got to choose well. It's up to the coach to deliver what you've chosen. Everybody's a part of it. It's a big moment right now.
100%. One of the individuals who I have in the zone, he had an outstanding college football career, Ashton Jeanty. Definitely a top 10 pick. Projected possibly the New England may take him at 4, maybe somebody at 6.
He's like a 5'8" tank.
5'9" running back. I mean, a tank. He is. And with the season he had last year, Maxwell Award winner, best offensive player in college
Comparing
football.
him to Barry Sanders.
Exactly.
I mean, I was coaching Barry Sanders quarterback, and at that time, so I know Barry. To put yourself in the same realm of Barry Sanders is you're good.
It is. I mean, there is that expectancy of
Scott
him
Mitchell's
to
the quarterback. Yeah.
expectancy of him to transfer what we saw in college to the NFL level. And as you mentioned, those 2,601 rush yards from last year are second only to Barry Sanders. But what I want to point out that I believe makes Jeanty great and why he is in the zone is specifically the self-discipline and concentration component of him. He's one of those running backs that is extremely patient behind the line of scrimmage. He's able to slow the game down, and you can tell when an individual has high concentration, as we know in the score system, that glycogen and oxytocin is flooded into their bloodstream, and they kind of get that tunnel vision. And you can see this with Jeanty. His field vision is unmatched.
And he keeps his breathing under control. The defense does not control his breathing.
No.
He controls his breathing. He can slow the game down.
Absolutely.
No different than what Gail Sears told me a long time ago. He could see the hole open up in slow motion.
And that's that high concentration you're talking about, Caleb.
It is, because when you're in that zone state and that glycogen oxytocin is flowing, I mean, you look on TV, those holes in the line, I mean, maybe only less than a foot wide, and he's able to explode through that gap and see doesn't hit.
So he's going to go first round, but who expects to get him? There's a lot of needs at the top.
There is. Possibly New England. I've
Saquon
seen
Barkley
it for.
has changed maybe some people's thoughts on what they should expect from a running back.
And that is
Everybody
a very
now
good
wants
point.
a running back.
And that seemed flipped. It was wide receivers. Let's pay the wide receivers big bucks. But now Saquon is bringing that position back a little bit. And I think Jeanty is a very comparable runner, too. So, I mean, with that build
and he
that
can
has,
catch.
And he can catch. And also his fumbles. He only had one lost fumble last year on over 400 touches. As we know, toting the rock, protecting the ball is a huge thing in the NFL, and that bodes extremely well going to that next level.
He's going to the Raiders.
Who have you got in the zone?
He's going to the Raiders.
Marshawn Lynch again with Carroll. My NFL draft in the zone is none other than the guy who's going to go number one, Cam Ward, University of Miami. The all-time leader in career passing touchdowns in Division I combined. So that's FCS and FBS. He was a Heisman finalist, but what people don't know about Cam Ward is he had one scholarship offer out of high school, and it was the University of Incarnate Word. Not even a FBS team.
That's amazing.
And I played against him in baseball. It's a small school, San Antonio area. And he set some awesome numbers there, and then played there for 2 years. I believe COVID happened, and then Washington State picked him up, and Cam Ward became Cam Ward, but not the Cam Ward that he was at Miami. Something happened with Cam that brought him to that next echelon because
it's those palm trees.
it could be the palm
That
trees.
gets everybody to zone. It's the palm tree.
in
go
Miami. Come on.
To go and say, you know what, I'm not going to take the draft my senior year out of Washington State. I'm going to hit the transfer portal. I could make my money. I could get more money than I can make.
South Beach has changed a lot of men. I just want you to know that. It's changed a lot of guys.
But here's what Cam Ward did, I believe, to go from a good quarterback at Washington State, going to get drafted to ACC Player of the Year, projected number 1 overall to the Titans, and to be the leader in Division I touchdowns. And he only had 7 interceptions, by the way, both years combined. But he did something. He bet on himself. He said, I'm not going to the draft, actually. I'm going to hit the transfer portal. I'm going to show everyone that not only can I compete with the best, but I'm going to do it at a different level. And I'm going to become that first-round pick that I expect myself to be. So his optimism level, he had to also challenge himself and say, I'm expecting myself to become this next echelon of quarterbacks. And I have the opportunity in Miami to do something very special. And he did. And he had a 67.2% completion rate for 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns combined, and only 7 interceptions. Now, he actually threw more at Incarnate Word, which is crazy. He threw for like 4,800 yards there. But to do that in the ACC, top football conference after what we saw this last year, ACC, SEC right there with each other. But now he's number 1 overall. And if he didn't bet on himself and said, I'm going to not only increase my self-discipline, my concentration, my optimism, my relaxation, enjoyment, but I'm going to put a little stress on myself to say, oh man, what if I get hurt? What if something happens at Miami?
There's none of that. There was no
And I
wellness.
think a lot of us can learn from that. You got to bet on yourself. So Cam Ward has been in the zone since he started. One scholarship offer to the number 1 overall pick. It's going to happen. I expect it. But he had that frequency that I think Miami picked up on when they saw him in the transfer portal.
Well, I've been to Miami recently, Miami University, and Miami baseball is in the zone right now.
Let's go, Hurricanes.
Come on, Hurricanes.
We started coaching. Ryan, you and I went down there. I'm coaching J.D. Ardiaga, the head coach. They have turned that program around since we've been involved, so that's great. They beat Georgia Tech over the weekend, a sweep. Now,
Number 1 in the ACC standings. I mean, and ACC's a gauntlet this year. You got Clemson at 2, North Carolina at 3, and Georgia Tech at the top of that. You gotta stay at the top.
Miami's
if you're
not
Georgia
only
Tech.
swept the series with Georgia Tech, they also clipped North Carolina early in this run. But right now they are in a run. They've won 10 of the last 13, and we're on 6 in a row. And the good news is they've had no consecutive losses in a row. Miami,
That's impressive.
baseball,
That's awesome.
you're in the zone.
Sweeping Georgia Tech. Let's go.
Let's fire it up. And now for this week, we're only going positive. Only positives. We're going to go some other sports highlights. It was a great weekend in sports. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB's in full swing.
Oklahoma
PGA Tour.
City in the zone. I've never seen. This was the 5th worst beating in NFL NBA history.
Yes.
It was the worst beating in the first round in NBA history.
Ever.
And OKC had 6 guys in double figures. The Grizzlies had 1, and they had nobody with 20 points or more. They blitzed them. This is embarrassing. Now,
Yes.
the coach of the Grizzlies, he's probably going, what is happening? The coach got fired.
Like I say, this is only
New
6,
coach.
Yep.
This is his first playoff game ever and his first NBA game ever. So I'm sure he's feeling it. But 55-point loss, we'll see how they come back. OKC, you've led the entire NBA in the Western Conference with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and everybody else, SGA. OKC, you're in the zone.
I got Fransisco Lindor and the New York Mets in the zone.
Well,
And
that puts a smile on my
we
face.
know Lindor pretty well, right, Jim?
We do. Yeah. Francisco had his first New York Met walk-off home run on
That was
Friday
awesome.
night.
I love what's going on with Francisco is I feel like he finally feels at home in New York. He feels like he's got every part of his life in order and operating at a high level.
He also had a baby at
that
the
helps.
beginning of the year.
Yeah.
He had a baby boy, his 3rd child. So right on opening day, his wife was giving birth in that first week. So that gets you off to a different start. And he got off to a slow start, but right now he's locked in. We've had a great weekend, and the Mets are playing at a high level. And they got some injuries that are now coming back to even take them to another
And they
level.
call him Mr. Smiles for a reason.
Mr. Smiles. Well, Lindor and the Mets, you're in the zone.
Now, I do have one that's not in the zone. I just want to throw this real quick. Is the city of Chicago sports. Now, this came up on my phone this weekend.
Wait, you're going to bust the chops
Yeah,
here in
yeah,
Chicago?
I am.
Come on.
I am here in Chicago.
Homegrown people.
10 years since the Blackhawks advanced in the playoffs.
Oh, wait a minute. We have a hockey team?
Yeah. 10 years since the Bulls. 14 years since the Bears. 8 years since the Cubs. 20 years since the White Sox. And that's non-playing, non-qualifying. It's been embarrassing
How about
for the
the
city
dogs?
of Chicago.
We need to go
Chicago
down.
Dogs.
Chicago
They went to the
Dogs.
championship a couple years ago, I know. But I needed to throw that in there because that just hit my phone within the next
But you
last
want
10 minutes.
to know something? When you get out of a zone state, it's highly contagious. I'm telling you. One person, one rotten apple, spoils the whole barrel. It's contagious. The zone's contagious. Now everybody's making a run. We're all on the same page. We all have shared vision. But when you get off track with no vision, no help, and you feel like you're alone, even though you're on a team, That's a scary place to be, just like the White Sox last year losing 100 games. That was contagious. They got great players. They didn't have bad, horrible players, but it was just a bad mindset. This show's about being in the zone, but every now and then, you're not in the zone. And of course, when that happens, what do you need to do? Well, you need to visit the ZoneCafé. When things aren't going your way, especially on the road of life, get in your car, pull up to the ZoneCafé. We're cooking only 5 things. Self-discipline, we have some of that. Concentration, got it. Optimism, check. Relaxate, you need relaxation? Come on, we got that. You'll be calm and cool. And last is enjoyment. Choose one thing right now. You can only choose one. You can come back later and take something else. Do you really need some discipline? Do you have a blueprint? Are you all over the place? Up and down and up and down? You're inconsistent how you start. Maybe you're a golfer and you're always getting off to a poor start. Or maybe you're not closing well after you played 12 holes. Do you need more discipline, more patience, more commitment, and a plan? If you do, take it right now. Leave. You're done. Take your self-discipline. But maybe you do have a plan. But maybe your concentration's all over the place. Sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not. No rhyme or reason for you to even figure it out. Do you need to lengthen your mental focus? And do you need to learn how to get it back when you lose it? If you need concentration, come on, I'm cooking up a big mess of it in the back. Take your concentration, drive away on the road of life. But maybe you are disciplined. Maybe you do have some focus. But maybe you need what this show today is about, optimism. And we got a giant slab of optimism that's going to make you feel expectant and give you a sense of knowing. So if you need that, definitely drive away with it. But maybe you have the discipline, the focus, the confidence, the optimism. Maybe you're just stressed. Maybe you're wringing your hands. Maybe you're a worrier and you're going over and over why things are going wrong for you. If that's the case, we got a cool drink of relaxation. One sip, and you're going to be calm and cool for the rest of the drive on your road to life. But maybe you have all 5, but you're missing a little pep in your step. Need a little dopamine, need a little positivity. Maybe you need our happy meal, which is enjoyment. Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not enjoying practice, you're not enjoying the results, and you're not enjoying life in general, you might need our happy meal. Make your decision. You can come back later. Welcome to the ZoneCafé. What are your clients needing right this minute? Things change. The world changes, teams change, circumstance, conditions, situations change. We're getting calls every single day. In fact, if you would like to have a call, a free complimentary consultation, click below, sign up. We'd love to talk to you about meeting your challenge, helping you with the missing link that you have in your score system. What are you seeing mostly, Caleb?
One thing I want to use a real-world example here with this past weekend with Justin Thomas winning his first PGA Tour in almost 3 years. He hasn't won since winning the PGA Championship in 2022.
And this guy was a can't-miss, top-line, competing for number one, competing for every major.
Year after year. And he, tying in with this show, his optimism levels, especially with the putter, were as low as they could be. And I know all the golf followers who are out there know he had a little mini clinic with Xander Schauffele. Xander gave him some pointers, talks to some tips or whatever, and JT comes out, wins the RBC Heritage. But he had a great quote after winning this tournament. I think a lot of people can take away information from this and use. And he said he likes to be pro-am putting. So in the pro-am, before they play their actual rounds, pro-am putting. Obviously, he said he wants to make the putt, but he's not going through every single little analytical reasoning, data, decision as he had been when he was on the tour, in live rounds, on championship Sundays. He was overthinking. And Jim, we had a call last week with a very successful college golf team, and you asked that question, gentlemen, who overthinks before a round? Almost every one of them.
Every person raised
Raised their hand. And you related that immediately to low confidence and what this shows about with that optimism level. And it was clear that Justin Thomas had low confidence with his putting.
Well,
he was overthinking.
You know, when everybody and your own mother, what's wrong, baby? What's going on? Why aren't you winning? Everybody wants to know what's wrong. So now you're thinking, wow, something's wrong. And the more you think that something's wrong, the more something's going to be wrong. But you said a key phrase that you quoted, pro-am putting. In a pro-am, you detach from results. And the best in the world are so prepared, you don't have to think about results. Results are in the future. Execute the process. Execute the score system. You use the score system, and this takes less than 2% of your waking hours. You use our score system, been around 50 years, proven tools. I'm telling you, you can reverse a performance instantly, near instantly, every single time. I'm excited about it. But congratulations to him. He deserves it. I'm sure he had a big sigh of relief.
He said, I forgot how much I like winning.
Wow.
I mean, talk about that. I forgot how much I liked winning.
Justin, this is directly for you, Justin. You're only as great as the tournament after greatness. So get back in the trench, get back at doing all the pre-performance basics, prepare to adjust, and prepare to close. And let's see if you can replicate it. Backing this up is going to be tough because everybody and his mom went into the past to tell him how awesome it was going into the future. So it's going to depend, Justin, on your next performance. Be in the zone. It is the only place to be. Any thoughts that you have?
Well, with the ZoneCafé, I like what you said there with Justin Thomas is I forgot how much I love winning. And I understand that phrase. I think Derek Jeter said it all the time. I hate losing more than I love winning. I mean, when I was in high school, I had to fill out these giant, I remember the Cleveland Indians in baseball sent me this huge packet. I had to fill it out, like an assessment, basically. And one of the questions was, I love winning more than I hate losing. I hate losing more than I love winning. And I'm like, what does this mean? I'm 18 years old. I'm 17 years old. Which one do I pick? What do they want to know?
That's a trick question.
But it made me think about it.
It's a revealing question.
And if you think about our score system, and this helped me understand this so much in college and into pro ball, I found out that I love winning more than I hate losing. I love winning, and that's enjoyment at the end of it. And I think the athletes today, and with this scenario, is Justin was thinking about how much he didn't like losing over and over and over again. I hate losing, and it creates that stress, negative stress.
Well, let's think about it. I hate losing. I'm saying it by myself, in my bedroom, I'm alone. God, I hate losing. What goes on the screen of space is a loser. Over and over. Every time you hate, learn to communicate with your own subconscious to change negative habits. We can change a negative habit 7 to 10 days, totally opposite what conventional wisdom says. You want to change a habit right now? You want to get into a Justin Thomas winning mindset? Click on a free complimentary session with one of our coaches. We're here to help you be your genuine, authentic best self.
And the one thing to finish on that is when you flip that, if you're listening, and you find yourself in the shoes of Justin Thomas, when you flip that and you start to realize that I love winning, your enjoyment levels are going to go up because you're now going to be playing to win instead of playing not to lose.
And what goes on the screen of space when you say, I love winning? It shows a guy that just made an 8-foot putt and won. Now let's go to the final word. Today's spotlight on the score system was on optimism. And optimism is literally and figuratively at the heart of the score system and the word itself. Optimism. That's belief, that's expectancy, and that's a sense of knowing. Do you expect to open strong? Do you expect to adjust or adapt to changing conditions, circumstances, situations? Do you expect to learn from every loss and every win? The best in the world never lose because they're constantly learning. Learn who you are, learn why you do what you do. Now, what's going to happen when your expectations aren't met? I expect to make an 8-foot putt to win my next tournament, and now I miss it. I shut my eyes. I see me making it. I see only what I want, what serves me well. But if I put myself into some kind of little psychological ditch because I've had all kinds of symptoms of negative optimism, I can't believe this. Why did I do that? Oh my God, I hate when this happens. I hate it. You know that negative self-talk that we believe no one can hear because it's inside your head? Everybody can hear it because you're broadcasting it with your body language. Your mother, she don't know jack about sports, but she knows you're not in the zone, and she knows you're not confident. What do I do when I'm in that moment? That's when you pull out a vision of something that wakes you up and tucks you in bed at night. And you need to work on that. Why are you doing this? What do you really want out of it? I want to win. I want this. I want number one. I want to win the tournament. I want to win the conference. See only what you want, not what you don't want. So when things don't go well, quickly shut your eyes and replace that negative thought with only what you want. The replacement tool, how long does that take? Instant. Seconds.
5 seconds.
But if you're not prepared for it, well, you won't use it. And now you're going to wallow into your own negativity. Zoniacs. You know who you are. Zoniac is someone that wants to be in the zone, is committed to score system tools. And if you're new to being a Zoniac, welcome. Welcome. Living in the zone. This is a place where the best of the best come to get even better. So Zoniacs, be in that purposeful calm zone state. That's the only place to be. Until next time, I'm Jim Fannin. I'm your host, Living in the Zone.